Hello everyone and welcome back to Turkish series Stars, the corner where we breathe love stories, behind-the-scenes whispers, and the kind of chemistry you can feel even through a screen. Settle in, because today we're diving headfirst into a question that has been flooding our messages, lighting up our comment sections, and stirring the hearts of fans everywhere. Is love blossoming again for Barış Baktaş and Yağmur Yüksel? The talk is getting louder, the hints are stacking up, and the hope is more alive than ever. If you're new here, don't forget that subscribing keeps you close to every twist and turn in the stories you adore, and it helps us bring you the most captivating updates the moment they surface. Let's get to the point. The murmur that started quietly has become a chorus, the relationship is said to be confirmed, and the question is no longer if there is a spark, but how brightly it's burning. We've heard your theories, seen your edits, and felt your excitement. Barış and Yağmur have always been that pair whose connection radiated a warmth that felt genuine, even in the most carefully orchestrated settings. When two people move in sync the way they do, it's hard not to dream that life will nudge them back into the same orbit, no matter how the winds shift around them. To understand why the rumor mill can't slow down, you have to remember what it was like at their peak. Do you recall those weeks when their photos were everywhere? When a casual glance between them could send a timeline spiraling into overdrive? There were premieres where they arrived separately but somehow left everyone thinking they'd never been apart at all, interviews where their laughter overlapped so naturally that fans replayed clips just to soak in the harmony. Of course, life doesn't move in a straight line. There were stretches where their paths seemed to diverge. Work commitments, new projects, the endless press of schedules that don't always align. And in those quiet gaps, the audience that loves them most read between the lines, clinging to the moments that suggested something deeper might still be alive. Now here we are, in a season that feels charged with possibility. Over the last few weeks, the little clues have multiplied, and every breadcrumb seems to fall in the same direction. It's not one big announcement. No grand declarations, no glossy magazine spreads spelling it out, but a pattern that's impossible to ignore. A photo posted by one appears at an hour the other seems fond of. A caption echoes a phrase we've heard before, one that only makes sense if you've been watching for a long time. A like drops on a memory from months back, then vanishes, then returns, almost as though someone wanted to be subtle but couldn't resist pressing that hard again. There are the shared spaces too. The friends they have in common, the little circles in which their names keep turning up. A mutual friend posts a group dinner, the camera pans quickly, and fans swear they catch a familiar shoulder in the frame. A stylist tags them both in the same week, and though the tags are on different days, the palette, the vibe, the language feels uncannily aligned. People who pay attention notice the rhythm of it all, that feeling when separate stories sing the same melody. And then there are their own words, those careful lines in interviews where actors always say a lot without saying too much. When asked about love, Barış speaks in that grounded, thoughtful way he has, about balance, about respect, about learning to hear someone even when life is loud. Yağmur smiles that luminous smile and talks about being brave enough to start again, about believing that timing is a character in every story, not just a detail in the background. None of it is a confession, but none of it is cold either. It's warm, open, and it hints at a door that may be unlocked again. All of this would be noise if not for their chemistry, which the camera never managed to dilute. You remember it, the way their scenes together carried an extra layer, that unforced ease that said they didn't have to try to look close, because closeness already lived in the way they breathed the same air. Off camera, even in seemingly casual moments? On a set break, at a festival, crossing paths outside a studio, the energy between them drew eyes. When fans talk about them, they don't talk only about beauty or star power, they talk about an electricity that feels human and rare. So we listen to you, our community, because you know how to track these signals better than anyone. You send us timestamps, you circle details, you message us with the kind of careful observations that only come from people who care. The consensus is not monolithic. There are always doubters, and they keep us honest, but the current is flowing strongly in one direction. There's a softness in the way they interact now, a gentleness that doesn't belong to strangers. If the past taught them caution, the present seems to be teaching them courage. Now, is there proof? In this world, the truth often arrives like a sunrise, first a hint, then a glow, and only later the full light. Official confirmations are rare and carefully timed. But it's equally true that patterns tell stories, and the pattern we see here is one of reconnection. The silences are shorter. The smiles are warmer. The careful boundaries that once felt like walls now resemble open windows. When someone asks if this is our imagination running wild, we answer that it might be hope at work, but hope often grows where there's fertile ground. Another piece of the puzzle is time itself. People change. They travel through mistakes and victories, they reevaluate what matters, and sometimes they come back to a place they once left with a clearer view of how to stay. The version of Barış who stands before cameras today carries a calmer strength, a steadiness that feels earned. The version of Yağmur we see now shines with intention, as if she has learned to protect her joy as fiercely as she shares it. If two people reach each other from these newer, wiser versions of themselves, the story that unfolds can be more beautiful than the one that came before. Of course, a little caution belongs here too. Rumors can outpace reality, and there is dignity in waiting for people to speak for themselves. Yet no one who loves a great love story can be faulted for wondering, and no one who has watched these two can be blamed for believing. Because when the same details repeat, when friends of friends quietly hint, when the camera captures echoes of a bond that once lit up the room, what else can we do but lean closer? And so we reach the moment that has everyone buzzing. It's confirmed, they say, Barış Baktaş and Yağmur Yüksel are together again, with love blooming anew. Is it an official proclamation? Not yet, not in the splashy, headline-grabbing way the industry sometimes loves. But the fabric of the story feels woven tight. The interactions are steady, the gestures are tender, and the chemistry remains the kind that doesn't need a microphone to be heard. The fandom is split between cautious optimism and full-throttle celebration, yet most voices tilt toward joy, toward the belief that something precious is finding its way back into the light. Here at Turkish Series Stars, we're keeping our eyes open and our hearts ready. Every new appearance, every careful comment, every telltale smile will be weighed with the same care we always bring you. And we want to hear you. What do you see that we haven't seen? What tiny clue did you catch at 1:37 in that clip that everyone else missed? Your theories fuel these conversations, your insight builds the map we all follow. Before we wrap, let's acknowledge what makes this story resonate so deeply. It's not only fame or beauty or the allure of television magic. It's the reminder that love doesn't always move in straight lines. It detours. It pauses. It breaks and then surprises us by mending in a way that's stronger than before. Watching Barış and Yağmur navigate that path reminds us that there's strength in vulnerability, that tenderness can be brave, and that second chances, when handled with care, can feel like first chapters written with wiser hands. Maybe that's why every small sign feels like a celebration. Maybe that's why we keep coming back to see what happens next. So here's where we leave it tonight. The whispers are loud, the signs are bright, and the story of Barış Baktaş and Yağmur Yüksel feels ready to turn a page. Whether we wake up tomorrow to an official photo or slide into another week of tantalizing hints, one truth remains: this connection has a pulse that refuses to fade. And until they write the next line themselves, we'll be right here, watching, listening, and sharing every moment with you. Thank you for spending this time with us and for being the heartbeat of Turkish Series Stars. Drop your thoughts below, tell us your theory, and let us know which detail convinced you most. If this deep dive made you smile, tap like, send it to that friend who ships them as much as you do, and make sure you're subscribed with notifications on so you never miss a turn in this tale. We'll be back the moment the next clue drops, because some love stories deserve to be followed in real time, with eyes wide open and hearts ready for good news.